The Magic have won their third straight game. They've won a third straight game thanks to their defense. How the defense led the way and the Magic slowly got back to their identity today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is February 9th. It will be February 10th, 2026. My name is Philip Rossman. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season, coming today from the Kia Center. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic get a third straight win. I know, crazy. It has happened before. It can and will happen again. The Magic do so behind a stellar defensive effort as they've slowly started to look more and more like the Orlando Magic. How the Magic did that, plus Franz Wagner's return and the difference he made. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies, our everydayers who listen 5 days a week, who listen when we do weekend episodes, who listen as part of the regular podcast rotation, who make us their first listen of the day. We truly appreciate everyone who has made the Locked On Magic community so special and so great. We truly appreciate everyone in our everydayer club as well. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. I feel like I've led a lot of these podcasts and a lot of these conversations, and it's a one-sided conversation because I'm a solo guy, but I feel like I've led a lot of these by saying, how do you define Orlando Magic basketball? Like, what are the defining traits of this team? And typically, when I lead an episode like that, or I lead a column like that, or lead a post like that, I answer it, whatever it is, it's not what we saw on the floor. It's not what we saw this Magic team do. And frankly, as frustrating as the Magic's record might be, as frustrating as their place in the standings might be, as frustrating as things feel at this current moment with this team, or at this juncture with this team, it all just came back that the biggest frustrating part just came back to this Magic team doesn't play the way we expected them to. This Magic team doesn't play Orlando Magic basketball, however you want to define it. The characteristics, the traits that define what made this team so much fun to cheer for, so much fun to follow, and made you want to believe, like, okay, there is another level to this. Now, injuries are certainly part of that, and we'll talk about Franz Wagner and his return tonight. But at the end of the day, identity is supposed to transcend injuries. Like, yeah, maybe you're not as good. Maybe you don't have the top end talent. Maybe something's too inconsistent for you to win consistently. But there is that one thing you're supposed to do every night, and this Magic team hasn't really found that this season. They know what it's supposed to be. They know what they're supposed to do. But actually accomplishing that has proven itself quite difficult. Has proven itself like just not exactly what the team thought. Tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks, a 118-99 victory that was as easy as it sounds, but not really completely that easy. The Magic looked like themselves. They look like the team we expected them to be. And it'd be easy to say, like, oh, Franz Wagner's back. Of course. Like, maybe there was some release of tension. Maybe there was like a giant exhale because, oh, we got our guys back. We're fully healthy now. But we've actually seen that this year where that works the opposite way, where that causes them to drop the ball. That causes them to relax a little too much. Instead, the Magic upped the intensity. They upped the pressure. They looked like the defensive aces, the defensive team that we believe, not only we believe, we know they can be. The Magic looked like the Orlando Magic. It was a swarming defense that collected 20 turnovers for 27 points, that collected 14 steals, that blocked only 3 shots, but felt like a whole lot more, that contested and challenged every attack to the paint, that fouled and was more physical and aggressive, that for whatever mistakes they might have been making on offense, and there were plenty, the Magic got back to their defense leading the way. And look, I could go down the numbers, but holding a team to under 100 points in the modern NBA says a whole lot. Giving up a 101 defensive rating says a whole lot. Putting a team on their back heels, making them take and make tough shots, which Milwaukee did throughout much of the first half, that says a lot. Not getting discouraged by your own mistakes, by the shots that the Magic were missing, and there were plenty of those. Not getting discouraged by those mistakes. Keeping the pressure up, making the defense the thing. Not ever letting up on that effort, despite whatever frustrations might exist. That is Magic basketball. That has been Magic basketball for the last 2 years. I know I've said this a million times over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15 years. Certainly over the last 3. The Magic don't need shooting to be competitive. They will need shooting to win. They'll need shooting to win at the highest levels. And yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But on a night in, night out basis, at least in the regular season, their defense is enough to give them a chance to win. And this season, it has not been. This season, the Magic have let their poor shooting affect their defense. They haven't let their defense lead. It has been their offense leading. And with this team, even as improved offensively as they are, and I know you're probably snickering and laughing at that statement, they are improved offensively this year. They're not improved enough offensively for that to be what leads their identity. What needs to lead their identity is their defense. And so holding a Bucks team to 45 points in the third and fourth quarter, to 22 points in the first quarter, to really only playing one poor quarter and wasn't even that bad. And really it only came because of a rush at the end of the quarter when the Magic did let the rope slip a little bit. Orlando responded with a more physical second half, with a more in-tune second half, the more intense second half, with a second half that saw them on a string. The Magic were switching 1 through 5. They were conceding post-ups to Miles Turner. If the Bucks wanted to dump the ball into the post, the Magic were going to give that up. They were going to foul. They were going to harass. They were going to double. They were going to dig. They're going to make it hard, but they were going to give that up. They're going to gang rebound. They're going to crash and rebound and help out. But they were going to switch everything because they're going to keep the Bucks on the perimeter, keep them into isolations, keep them one-on-one where they felt like they could win the game. That strategy worked. That adjustment from Mosley worked. And then all of a sudden it was Jalen Suggs and Anthony Black kind of giving each other the look that Gary Harris used to give Anthony Black last year, to go out and double, to go out and trap, to go out and just make life hard. And then it just becomes about effort. And then it just becomes about, are you going to play harder than the other team? And one play stands out most to me. It was Noah Penda diving on the floor for a loose ball, digging it out, trying to pass it to a teammate, that teammate losing it. Noah Penda is halfway up, like literally on his knees, diving for it again, getting the ball and getting a jump ball that he would eventually win to set up a Magic possession. Like sequences like that, sequences like Jalen Suggs forcing steals, the 5 steals in the game for Jalen Suggs. Sequences like that are Orlando Magic basketball. That is who the Magic are, or at least who they want to be. And it is who they have not been enough this season. I would honestly say the Brooklyn game, this game, and the fourth quarter against Utah are exactly who this Magic team needs to be. You play with that defensive energy and intensity every night, and it can be tiring to play like that every night. Like maybe there is something to this style is tiring. They need a more functioning offense to give that defense a break, or to be able to say, okay, we're going to ramp it up for these 15 minutes, and that's all we'll need to do against most opponents. Maybe there is something to that. Maybe that's a flaw in the roster, like no doubt about it. But not enough times this season did the Magic play with this intensity. Not enough times this season did the Magic let their defense lead, get their energy from their defense, and not allow their offensive struggles to drain them. look, it's Milwaukee. Yeah, I asked Paolo Banchero in the locker room after this game what was different about the last 3 games, and he said it plainly, and please don't take disrespect to this. The level of competition the Magic have played on this 3-game winning streak has not been great. Again, all wins count the same. We talked about that game Saturday, how that didn't really feel like a win. Utah ended up beating Miami. Thanks to the Jazz for doing that for us. The Magic are taking care of business against weaker teams. There is nothing wrong with that. There's no apologizing for that. All the wins count the same. And so, yes, they are playing teams that right now allow for mistakes. The Magic can mess up a second quarter. They can shoot 1 for 12 from 3 like they did in this game or whatever it was in this game. They started 1 for 10. I know that. They can shoot so poorly from 3 on open shots that it doesn't matter. Milwaukee's not going to punish them, especially if they play with any type of intensity or energy. And look, Milwaukee's going to come back Wednesday. They're going to play harder. They're going to be a little more prepared. Orlando's going to have to be better. Like Orlando's going to have to match that. They're going to have to make some shots in this game. And again, they did in the third quarter, but they got to make some shots. But regardless of the opponent, being able to find this feeling and build this confidence, that's going to get the Magic out of this. So too is the big return that happened on Monday. Let's talk about the difference when Franz Wagner is on the floor. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at ZocDoc. Finding a doctor you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sure, you want someone who's in network nearby and has availability, but you also want a doctor who listens, makes you feel comfortable, and explains things clearly. That kind of doctor, believe it or not, exists, and finding them is easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering more than 200 specialties, from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and eye care. Look, we all put off doctor's appointments longer than we should. We don't want to think about our health, especially if we are feeling healthy. But ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can search by specialty or symptoms and actually build a care team that works for you. You can see real-time availability and book instantly. No phone calls, no waiting on hold, none of that. You can also read verified patient reviews so you feel confident choosing a doctor you will actually like. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at Wayfair. The new year is here, and it is the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. I'm currently in the market for a new couch. My couch is starting to fall apart a little bit, sit in one spot too long, starting to sink in the wrong places, and stuffing's coming out. It's time for a new couch. And I know Wayfair is where I'm going to go to find the exact piece that I'm looking for. Plus, shipping is easy, delivery is smooth, and everything arrives exactly as expected. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. We want to thank you for making Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't heard, our Everydayer Club is here. It is your chance to take your Locked On Magic fandom to the next level. In the Everydayer Club, you get invited to a Discord channel with a specific Locked On Magic channel so you can chat with other Magic fans. Our group is growing. chat with other Magic fans, get my 3 thoughts after every quarter for the rest of the season. Plus, you get to get access to the full Locked On NBA group chat to hear what other NBA fans are talking about. You'll get an ad-free access to the ad-free audio feed of this podcast, so you don't have to listen to those pesky ads anymore. And I am still working on this, but I am going to try and get this to you. You'll get access to my other premium content as well. That is still in the process of being worked on, but I am trying to get that to you as well. The Everydayer Club is how you take your fandom to the next level. So go to lockedonmagic.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. We are 16 minutes into this podcast, about 16 minutes into this podcast. And look, we've talked about Franz Wagner. We've mentioned Franz Wagner in passing. But the story of the day, the lead story buried deep within the midpoint of this podcast, is Franz Wagner is back. And just like Franz Wagner, I'm going to bring him off the bench. I'm going to make you wait a little bit to hear about him. But undoubtedly, this is a huge moment for the team and for the season. We talked about this on yesterday's show. The Magic were 13-14 in the 27 games since Franz Wagner got hurt in New York with the high ankle sprain. They have a bottom 10 defensive rating, a bottom 10 offensive rating. They have really struggled, and frankly, it's been a miracle that they got to 13-14, as Franz has missed 25 of the last 27 games. Now, that's not all on Franz Wagner. That's not all because Franz has been out, but frankly, there feels like a lift off this team's shoulders. That is the only way that I can describe it. It does feel like a weight is off this team's shoulder after waiting so long to be fully healthy, to have the full complement of players. It just feels like relief. That is the best way to describe it. It just feels like relief that the Magic star, one of the Magic's key players, has returned to the lineup, has returned to this game. And look, Franz is going to need time to get his feet back under him. There's no doubt about that. He is not perfect. Even he would say he's not in the shape he wants to be in. His body's not quite where he wants it to be. It's in good enough shape to play, but it's going to take a little while to get up and running and get fully up to speed. Here at this juncture of the season. And he's going to have an all-star break in the middle of it. And that'll be another little roadblock, another little step for him to get through. But the fact of the matter is the Magic haven't been this healthy since November 12th. The Magic haven't had all their players, excluding Desmond Bane, but Magic haven't had a fully healthy roster since October 30th, 2024, 470-something days ago. It feels like injuries have just been a weight on this team. And the moment Franz Wagner checked into the game late in the first quarter, with how much the Magic were struggling offensively to open this game, it just felt like a weight was lifted. Obviously coming back at home, the crowd gave him a great ovation coming back. And honestly, like, Franz wasn't forcing anything. Like, this is not Franz at full strength, but you could see the pieces. You could see the elements of him getting his timing and his rhythm back. His first few baskets were layups. A drive on Miles Turner where he hesitated, got him off balance, and blew past him for a layup at the left side of the rim. Shot with his right hand. We won't judge on that. It was fast. His second basket was a fast break layup where he did a nice up and under move for a reverse layup. It was just good to have him on the court. And yes, he gives you that defensive versatility, and he played really well on defense, and he played really well on offense. Franz finished 6 of 10 from the floor, 2 for 4 from 3, had 5 assists and 14 points. The Magic's kind of killing run, the Magic's like decisive run that came in the third quarter that got the lead to 15 for the first time in this game, it really felt like it started with Franz. He got the ball. He came into the game in the third quarter. His first touch was on the low post. He fired it cross court as the defense scrambled to double him to get it to Mo Wagner, and Mo Wagner hit a three. And all of a sudden, again, Magic struggled to shoot threes. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Magic, it just felt like this weight was lifted off the team. Right now, it's just vibes. Like, obviously, the Magic are going to need a little bit more from Franz, and they'll run more stuff for Franz, and he'll be forcing some more stuff. This game was just Franz kind of getting his feet under him. And again, you could just feel that everyone plays a little freer knowing that Franz is back there. Right? Orlando was plus 7 in Franz's minutes plus 21 in Mo's minutes. But just everyone just felt freer. That's the only way I could describe it. And Franz just does such a good job playing with energy. Like every movement he does has intention and energy behind it. He doesn't do things slowly. And maybe that is a pot shot at the Magic's other star, and we'll talk about Paolo's game here in a minute. But it just energy's infectious. Like it just really is. Like the reason why Jalen Suggs is indispensable is that dude does not know how to not try. That dude does not know how to play hard, and he will be overzealous at times and take himself out of plays that he needs to be in. And you're trying to rein in the energy, but you don't want him to lose his heart and lose that spirit. Franz is kind of like this tempering agent where he plays with energy. He plays with physicality. He sets a tone for a lot of this team. And he gets after it, but he isn't overzealous about it. He isn't going crazy over anything. And that's the difference with Franz. You could just rely, you could just depend on him to do the right things and not try and do too much. If anything, for the last 45 years, we've been saying do more, be more aggressive, be a little selfish. We've been begging him to be a little more selfish, to force things when the Magic need him to force things. That's not what we're asking to do tonight. That's not where we're at tonight. But the Magic needed that energy. They needed that boost. They needed that lift. And that's what Franz Wagner gives them every time he steps on the floor. You know, again, it's one game. There's adrenaline going. We'll see how he feels tomorrow. He'll play again Wednesday. Wednesday will be a different day, and now it's about consistency. Everything in this league is about consistency. What can you do every single night? Can the Magic play with this defensive intensity again on Wednesday night? They did on Thursday against Brooklyn. They didn't on Saturday until very late against Utah. They got to do it again. And that will be the challenge. Let's talk about the rest of the team then. We'll go through the box score, break down how the Magic defeated the Bucks. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms and work to get you every deduction. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. As we do after every game, let's run through the box score as the Orlando Magic defeat the Milwaukee Bucks 118-99. Like I mentioned, the shooting was rough in this game. And really, Orlando should have blown this game open much sooner. They left the door open because they simply couldn't hit an open shot. And so, you know, the most encouraging thing that was said after the game was, you know, they trusted their process. And I know everyone hates that phrase. It's overplayed. It's overdone. But there is something to it. Like, if you do the right things, more often than not, you will win. And Orlando did the right things. They stuck to the right things, even if they weren't getting the results. And eventually the results turned in their favor. Orlando finished 14 for 42 from three. 42 threes is way too many attempts, but that's what Milwaukee was giving them. They were packing the paint, and Orlando was getting a lot of open threes. They started again like 1 for 10 from three. They were 3 for 22, I think, at halftime. But Orlando made 6 of 11 threes in the third quarter as they pulled away. And again, a lot of that came from their defense creating their offense. Orlando had 27 points off 20 Milwaukee turnovers. They had 19 fast break points. Milwaukee only had 7. They scored 42 points in the paint. Not enough points in the paint, obviously, but they got to the line 27 times. 24 for 27 from the foul line. This is Magic basketball. You just got to grit your way in there. You go on a little run of shooting. You get a little shooting spurt. score off of turnovers, attack the basket, attack the paint. Again, Orlando 21 for 35 in the paint. That's pretty solid there. Attack the paint, get to the foul line, and then defend the paint, defend the rim, and challenge three-point shots. Milwaukee shot only 12 for 33 from three, so they weren't much better. Orlando made more threes, took more threes, but made more threes. Milwaukee shoots 46.8%. They were shooting the ball really, really well, but they had to make a lot of tough shots. Orlando, again, I thought Orlando's defense was really good in this game. I thought they did a really exceptional job staying in tune with their game plan. Again, they were switching 1 through 5. They did not care. They did not care about what Milwaukee's size was. They didn't care. They were just going to switch 1 through 5. They were going to commit to that strategy, pressure the ball, make passes hard. If they got the ball into the post, crash down and defend. And Milwaukee just did not adjust to that very, very well. Milestone wasn't really even posting up, wasn't even trying to post up on a lot of occasions. So I thought Orlando, again, had this great defensive game plan. They executed it really well, more importantly. And really the bigger thing is as they struggled to shoot, they didn't give up on that. They kept that defense going. And that's the part that we haven't seen this year, where the Magic can defend when they don't make shots. They usually let their shooting and their offense dictate their energy, and that's not Magic basketball. That's not how they need to play. This game, their defense dictated their energy all the way through, and that is a big, big, big reason why they ended up winning the game. Let's get to individuals. Anthony Black, 26 points, 8 for 13 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 8 for 9 from the foul line. Again, he goes hot and cold from 3, and he's kind of in a cold spurt from 3, but he's got to keep taking them. I know you're going to say that's crazy, Phil, but if you're open, you got to take shots. Like, you cannot pass open shots. I've had a few people text me, like, why is Wendell Carter taking so many threes? Wendell Carter was 0 for 4. We'll get to him in a minute. Jonathan Isaac didn't take a 3 in this game, but he still takes threes. And I'm like, look, if you're out there and you're at the 3-point line, you got to be at least a nominal threat from 3. And if you make one, they're going to change how they defend you. Until you start making threes consistently, teams are going to pack the paint, and that's what the Magic are seeing right now. So they're going to have to make shots. And again, maybe they need to address this more seriously in the offseason. They got Desmond Bane. Like, I don't know what more they're supposed to do. A lot of players have improved from 3 this year. They just got to be better. They just got to make more threes and get more threes and get higher quality threes. And it's just been tough. But Magic missed a lot of open shots tonight. Like, we don't have those numbers yet, but they missed a lot of open threes. The process was really good tonight. And so I'm not going to be so upset with that, because I thought they did good things. And AB was great, did a great job attacking the basket. 9 free throw attempts is fantastic. Certainly, this just exactly what the Magic need from him. Kept putting pressure on the rim and understood, like, hey, Paolo doesn't have it tonight. Franz is still coming back. Suggs is up and down. I'm going to have to take over a little bit. And again, the ball kind of finds who it needs to find. It found who it needed to find. Same thing with Desmond Bane. 25 points, 8 for 11 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3. So he made all his 2-point field goals. 7 for 7 from the foul line. Again, getting to the line, huge. You get 16 of your 27 free throws from those 2 players. That works really, really well. 3 rebounds for him. Dez is just playing really, really well. Again, Dez isn't maybe shooting threes at the rate or at the volume that everybody wanted him to shoot this year. He has been everything the Magic could hope for. He's a much better driver than I think anyone expected. Again, the defense is starting to come around. Like, again, this whole team's defense is starting to come around. Dez is a big part of that. He played a really fantastic game. Just did what the game asked him to do. Didn't have to do very much more than that. Got to keep finding him ways to get threes, but he's so good at putting pressure at the rim. This was his game to do that, and it worked out really, really well. Jalen Suggs, 7 points, 3 for 7 shooting, 1 for 3. He's still been up and down with his shooting, but he did have 10 assists in this game. He had 5 steals, only 2 turnovers. Orlando only 11 turnovers for 10 points. Look, Suggs' shooting has been up and down. Like, he's still not consistent. He's been back for 2 weeks now, a little bit more than 2 weeks now. It's still a little bit of a work in progress for him to get his feet under him. And again, that's a clue to what we're going to see from Franz here. It's going to be a little up and down with him, for the next couple of weeks as he gets back in shape and gets back in rhythm. Suggs is still working his way back into rhythm, especially offensively. Defensively, he's starting to look more like Jalen Suggs. And Jalen even said after shoot around on Monday that he is trying to move the ball and be a better passer. And so he still makes some of these risky passes that he shouldn't be making. It's still about the simple things with him. He gets a little over skis, a little excited. That's kind of what you get with Jalen Suggs. But his passing has been a lot better. He's been a lot better as a decoy, a lot better as a decision maker overall. And the stats show that, and the stats prove that he is making things happen. Let's start with Wendell Carter before we get to Paolo. It's been a rough week for Wendell Carter. He entered the game questionable with ankle soreness. It certainly did not look like he was moving perfectly great. Maybe that ankle soreness has been lasting a little bit, and this was the first time that it felt like he maybe shouldn't play on it. Would not shock me if he does not play Wednesday, just to kind of give him, because he just does not look right and does not look like the way that he's been playing for really this whole season. But if you want to say that this is like proof that Wendell Carter isn't the guy that the Magic need, there's certainly plenty of good arguments for that. Again, we'll talk about that in the offseason. I'm more concerned right now about how do you get the most out of this player at this juncture of the season. Carter finished with 4 points, 8 rebounds. Give him credit for the 8 rebounds, please. 4 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals. He was 2 for 8, 0 for 4 from 3. Just really, really struggled. The Bucks did a good job deflecting the ball away from him. You know, he really struggled to catch the ball. He just doesn't look like he's moving completely right. He looks like he's lumbering a little bit. Defensively, like, one of his big strengths is he is able to guard the perimeter. He's able to guard guards, even as a big. And he does this thing where he tries to be no hands, and he ends up using his hips and fouling with his hips a little bit more. That is happening a little bit more often, a little bit too often, to rely on him as that perimeter defender. And you lose a lot of your value in him if he's unable to do that. So a really, really up and down game for Wendell. Not even up and down game, just a down game. And it's been a couple of these rough games for him in a row, where it's just like, I don't know if he should finish games. And he didn't finish this game. Like, he didn't play much in the fourth quarter. So hopefully it's just injury related. Hopefully he kind of gets himself back after the All-Star break. But again, like, if there's a starting position to upgrade, that's probably it. We'll see if that's something the Magic address in the offseason, or if they believe in Wendell Carter enough to stick with him again. Again, he's been relatively healthy this year. Like the injury, there's no injury complaint with him. Like, he's playing hurt right now. So hopefully the All-Star break heals that up and makes him a little bit better. Okay, let's talk Paolo. Rough game for Paolo. 11 points, 3 for 10 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, 3 for 4 from the line, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Look, I thought Paolo played great defense. So I'm not gonna say this was some terrible game from him. It just didn't look like there was much energy from him offensively, and maybe that was by design. Maybe that was just kind of what the defense was giving him, and where the defense was at. And again, just, you got to do what the defense gives you. The ball's going to find who it needs to find. Paolo needs to be a decoy, move the ball. That's fine. I didn't really feel like he was touching the ball much. Again, he only takes 10 field goal attempts. He was 0 for 4 at halftime. And so just kind of getting him in rhythm was much tougher than it perhaps needed to be. And again, the Magic won. Like, I thought his defense was fine. Usually if Paolo's having a bad game, it's because, like, his defense is bad and that drains his offense, or his offense is draining his defense. He stayed locked in defensively. Like, I was really happy with how he defended and the communication and intensity that he brought to the game. On that end, offensively, I just felt like he was just a little passive. Not making quick decisions, not taking advantage of mismatches, and some of that schematic. But again, overall, it was just a blah game from Paolo. Like, that's really the only way I could describe it. It was just, meh. It wasn't like so bad that it hurt the team, but it wasn't like, oh, this is your star player. And again, that's kind of where we're judging him a little bit. Again, you do what you need to do to win the game. Magic won the game. It's all fine. It's not the end of the world. Again, I thought he defended really, really well, and I'd rather him have a bad offensive game where he defends well than a bad offensive game where he defends poorly, or a good offensive game where he gives it all back defensively. Like, he was doing his job defensively tonight. And he is, picked up some things that make him a better all-around player. But, again, we have high expectations for him. I would think he has high expectations for himself. And hopefully we see him a little refreshed after the break, as we get ready for the rest of the season. Off the bench, Mo Wagner, hugely impactful. Third straight game with 10 or more points for him, which is huge coming off the injury. 14 points, 5 for 8 shooting, plus 21, added 2 steals, just so active. Like, honestly, the Magic were struggling so much offensively early in the game, just not moving really well, missing open shots, and Mo came in, and again, just a breath of fresh air. He's moving. He's active without the ball. He's, trying to make things happen as a roller, as a cutter. Just makes these energy plays, gets around the rim. This is why the Magic have Mo Wagner. This is why Jamal Mosley jokes that, he wakes up with 10 points. He woke up with 10 points today. Again, third straight game scoring 10 points. It's a huge step for him coming off his ACL injury. He was hugely impactful, made so many energy plays that put the Magic over the top and helped them build that lead, especially in the third quarter. This is the Mo Wagner that changes games for the Magic. And so it was really good to see that out there with him, and really good to see him make this impact. Again, just make it consistently. Again, this is my thing. The regular season is about consistency. It's about what you can do every single night, every single game. There's 82 of these things. The season is forever. What can you do every night? What can I count on you for 82 times a year? That's the thing that Mo Wagner is giving with his energy. And again, that energy is infectious. It spreads to everybody. And that's why the Magic won this game. Like they had better energy. They didn't let frustration beat them. Milwaukee did that at times. I mean, I don't think Milwaukee played necessarily poorly. They settled for shots. They got some deficiencies in their team, and they had some rough shooting and had some rough moments. But Orlando played with the more consistent energy, especially on defense, and that's why they ultimately came out with the win. The Magic defeat the Milwaukee Bucks 118-99. These two teams will be back in action here at the Kia Center on Wednesday, the Magic's last game before the All-Star break. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the places you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub, or join our Locked On Everydayer Club. With the Everydayer Club, you'll get access to a team-specific Discord channel, as well as the access to the ad-free audio feed of this podcast. And like I said, I'm working on getting you access to my other premium content through the Everydayer Club. So you do not need to sign up for both. I do not want you to sign up for both. Sign up for the one that you think is best for you. But I'm trying to work on getting you access to my other premium content through the Everydayer Club so that you can get the full premium experience from me in addition to my articles at Orlando Magic Daily, no matter what you decide to subscribe to. For those of you on video, we're going to send you the first ever 24/7 National NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NBA game night on Locked On NBA. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow to talk a little bit more about the Orlando Magic. We'll figure out what we're going to talk about. We're getting close to the All-Star break. I'm seeing the break too. We'll get to that on tomorrow's. We'll get to something new on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Phil Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.